Morning viewers, I hope you're well. Now just a really quick video to share the news and my reaction to the news that the UCI is getting in on the gravel action, jumping on the gravel bandwagon by launching a Gravel World Series and a Gravel World Championships event in 2022. Yes, gravel is getting serious. You can now compete for a rainbow jersey in the gravel discipline. But is it a good thing, a bad thing? What do you think? Let me know down below, of course. And what do I think? Well, initially, my gut reaction, as I shared on Twitter, on social media yesterday, is that I don't really think it's a good idea. But I remain open-minded just in case it does turn out to be a good thing for the sport. But I can't really see the benefits for gravel riding. And in this video, to share my thoughts, the pros and cons to the UCI getting involved in gravel racing. The reason I don't think it's a good thing that UCI getting involved in gravel racing is because gravel events are doing very, very well without the involvement of the UCI so far. And being cynical, it seems the UCI stands to benefit more from getting involved in gravel than gravel stands to benefit from the UCI getting involved with its rulebook. And gravel events are fantastic at the moment because they offer a wide range of choice and diversity. Everything from 200-mile flat dirt gravel races in the US to events like Grind Enduro, which are timed sections on very technical, very demanding courses where skill is a very big requirement. So a real fast array of gravel races. And my fear with the UCI coming in with its rulebook and the way it does road racing and cyclocross is that it will sanitize and remove this diversity and just create a singular type of gravel racing that is interchangeable around the world. The same formula, the same format, and removes what is so unique and appealing and exciting about gravel at the moment is that gravel is different everywhere you go, and it's different depending on the event organisers. There's a real kind of melting pot of different ideas, enduro time sections like you get with Grind Enduro, big distance gravel events in the US. So it's a real mix of events, and the UCI can come in and just remove all that and create one singular type of gravel event. And to be honest, it was really only a matter of time before the UCI got involved in gravel, given how popular gravel is and how keen the UCI are to get involved in every aspect of cycling, especially if there's money to be made, if I am being cynical. And gravel racing, especially in the US, is getting really serious. And we've seen a big influx of ex-pro roadies now turning to gravel racing influencers, making gravel racing in the US at least very fast and very serious, and lots more sponsors involved. Especially helped by the fact that the road racing scene in the US, the domestic road racing scene, is dead. There is no Amgen Tour of California anymore. So it's all about gravel racing. So a lot of pressure on gravel racing to fill that sort of void for racing action and for the sponsors who want to sponsor a team. But my fear with the UCI coming in, and if you follow that sort of the way gravel is developing with more roadies coming into it, and the UCI come in with their rules, is gravel racing just going to turn into gravel road racing and be basically a road race on dirt with teams riding for a lead rider, support cars, helicopters, all the other jazz you get with a road race, but just happen to be on dirt and gravel in the middle of the Midwest US or wherever it's going to be. So that's my fear. It sort of sanitizes gravel racing into no more than glorified road racing on gravel bikes, really. Now, the great thing about gravel events at the moment is their accessibility and their appeal. There's no governing body, there's no rules, there's no need for a license, a race license like you have with UCI race events or British cycling race events here in the UK. So anybody can turn up with a suitable bike, a gravel bike, a cyclocross bike, and sometimes a mountain bike, and take part, put a number on your handlebar, a jersey, and off you go. And most mass start races, you have the 10% of the people taking it very seriously at the front who are racing there to try and win, and 90% are just there for the fun, the adventure, the thrills, the experience, and it works really well. And the UCI does say these events will be mass participation, but mass participation of people there to win the rainbow jersey. So my fear is we'll lose that mass appeal, that accessibility that gravel has right now, and just appeal to people who just want to race. So we just lose that mass appeal, that accessibility that gravel racing, gravel events have right now, where you have a real mix of people from different backgrounds and different ages, genders, all taking part in one event and all smiling and enjoying the event together. So that's overly negative so far. Let's talk about some positives that could come out of the UCI getting involved in gravel. And the first one could be credibility. The UCI being involved in gravel might, in the eyes of some people watching this, give gravel the credibility it currently lacks. Although you could argue it doesn't lack credibility, it doesn't need UCI to validate that credibility, but that is one factor. The other one is anti-doping. That's something the UCI does reasonably well, not so well in the past. And you can't leave anti-doping to small event organisers. They don't have the money to do it. So UCI can bring in all the existing current anti-doping technology and policies and stuff and make sure the sport is clean, because at the moment, well, we don't know. There could be anything going on, and it's only a matter of time before there's some sort of scandal with doping and gravel. It's happening in every other discipline, so it's bound to happen at some point. So that could be a real benefit, a real positive, especially as gravel increasingly gets faster and more serious. The other one is potentially bigger prize money and fairer prize money for event organisers to bring in more spotlight on the prize money given out at events. And the other one as well is TV coverage. So the World Series could be a nice package that they can sell to a TV channel like Red Bull, who broadcasts the mountain bike, downhill and cross country extremely well, give us excellent coverage. So they could wrap it up like that, set it to Red Bull or another channel, and we get really good coverage for the sport, which could be a good thing. So a few positives there, but quite a few more negatives that I haven't mentioned yet. And the big one is that we all know the UCI loves its rule book and it loves making up rules on the hoof, reacting to new technologies and making up rules as it sees fit to try and preserve what it sees as the image of cycling. And that works for road racing, because what they've always tried to do is preserve this idea of this Eddie Merckx image of cycling about man and machine, although aero bikes and disc brakes and carbon wheels look as far from Eddie Merckx's steel bike as it gets. But they have some daft rules. No, so sock length, and then could they bring in rules for beard length, number of tattoos? But the other impact of their rule book that would concern me is how it would impact frame design and bike design. At the moment, we're seeing fantastic innovation in gravel because there are no rules. But for road racing, time trialing and cyclocross, all the bikes, the frame designs have to be mandated or certified by the UCI. You see that small UCI sticker on the frame, which some cynical people might just say it's a money-making exercise, but UCI say it's for the safety of the frame design, although I don't know how much impact the UCI rules have on the safety of frames, because I think they're a bit out of touch with modern standards. The UCI weight limit is a good example of that being well out of touch with where frames and bikes can actually go with current technology. So my fear is they bring some rules around frame design, geometry, and then tyre size. Would they also certify tyre width like do in cyclocross, maximum size width, and tread profile? So that does really concern me, how they would try and impose their rules, if they did, which I'm sure they would, into frame design and bike design. Because if you're going to have a World Series, a World Championships, they're going to try and make sure that everybody's on similar bikes, so there isn't a bike advantage. But we're already seeing suspension forks, full suspension gravel bikes, other sorts of like Future Shock, other developments trying to make bikes faster, smoother, aero gravel bikes. So I think we lose this freedom, this creativity we currently have in the gravel sector, where we're seeing some really exciting bikes, which are in many ways more exciting than road bikes, because they all look the same, because they're all shaped by UCI rules. There's very little freedom to really go outside the UCI rules if you want a UCI certified frame. And would they also try and bring in rules around what is a gravel road or gravel route? And gravel is different around the world. Now the name gravel doesn't really work because gravel is different everywhere. Dirt roads in the Midwest US, woody single track with roots and rocks here in the UK, big mountains in France and Italy where you have rocks and boulders, and a wide variety, and then roads that link it all together, bridleways here in the UK. So gravel is a big umbrella term for a style of riding over all terrain, whatever you happen to have on your doorstep or wherever you're traveling to. I think we all know what it means, but would the UCI try and bring rules about what is actually a gravel track, the size of gravel boulder or pebble, the ratio of road to off-road to single track to mud and dirt? Would they try and bring rules to govern around that? And would they sterilise it in a way that it currently isn't sterilised, because part of the appeal of gravel at the moment is you don't know what will be around the corner. You don't know what sort of gravel any event will have until you do it. And that makes it fascinating from a bike and tyre choice setup. So there is that, but the UCI could sterilise all that into just you ride the same bike, the same width tyre, same tread pattern, and there's no longer that freedom of choice to choose a bike to suit different terrain of any different gravel event, from the Unbound to Grand Endurance, Wales or Switzerland or Canada and so on. Because right now, gravel is the most accessible and exciting and unrestricted form of cycling. There are no rules, there's no restrictions, don't need a license, there's no limitations. Any bike would do, gravel, cyclocross and mountain bike if you want. Any rider, any background, you turn up, you take part, you have fun, you race fast, you can take it slowly if you want, it's all good. But I fear some of that may change, some of that may be lost, some of that appeal that have made gravel so exciting because it's so outside of the traditional norms of road cycling and cyclocross, which is very formulaic and has been the same for 100 years. And it's this exciting, sort of edgy, dirty, gritty sport taking outside of all the rules and restrictions and conventions. But if it brought inside the umbrella of UCI with all its rules, I just fear some of that, the appeal of gravel will be lost. But I guess we could just ignore it all, not worry about any of it, and just keep riding our bikes. And as it says on the cap, just ride bikes and be happy. Anyway, that's all for now. Just wanted to share my thoughts on this and get your thoughts, so leave a comment down below. And if you want to know more about gravel riding, then check out my video on gravel bikes linked up there. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting that button just there. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all again very soon.